to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to The Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
Ah, that's right. This is The Changing Stage radio show powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks and brought to you by PRS. I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied here. Well, PRS might be coming on board here soon. But actually, we're brought to you by Pitbull Audio, who carries and now a new line of products that they're carrying is PRS. So, and I know that's a fun guitar for Paul. You're going to be getting one, Paul, pretty soon over there at Pitbull Audio?
I might have to, yes. It's been a while since I bought a guitar.
I know, you do one, and PRS has been the one you're looking at. And, of course, we only love Pitbull Audio for all the great products that they provide. And SIR, music equipment rental, if you want to just borrow one, or rent one, I should say. SIR, there we go. Might use one for the show. But today is actually not about guitars today. Today is about controllers and about the artists that use those, and in fact, really cool artists that design those. Mr. Moldover, are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. Hey, how's it going?
What's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. Can't complain.
Awesome. Well, hey, for one, thanks for joining the show today, and we definitely appreciate artists who are exceptionally busy. You're a Renaissance man. You are out there making the music, and you're making the gear to make the music, which is pretty damn awesome. So, sir, I'd like to start off with, kind of a little bit of your history. How did you get into music, and what was the passion that drove you for that?
Well, I came up and got interested in music, I guess, pretty similar way to a lot of people. I was, I grew up in the D.C. suburbs. I was mainly just exposed to the music that my family listened to. No musicians in the family or anything. And I got serious about it when I went to college. I went to a music school and kind of had my head turned around because I wasn't very serious about it before that. But there's plenty of people at good schools who are serious. So that's when I got really serious about it as well. And that's also when I ran into music technology for the first time. I've been really into video games and computer programming and all these things that I didn't think would have any connection to music for me. But, for the first time I was introduced to synthesis and sequencing and sampling and remixing and stuff that before I had no interest in because I was a guitar player and just wanted to, front bands. Suddenly, the technology stuff was presented in a way that was way more accessible and way more exciting. And that's kind of how I got started in the music and in the technology.
That's kind of an interesting thing because you mentioned that your primary instrument and what you've focused on technology for is for guitars, which is, and we're not just talking about tuners and strings and other really cool technologies that power guitars, which are a little bit more organic. You're talking about electronics and you're talking about controllers specifically for guitars. And, I think that is an amazing thing. How, you mentioned kind of briefly how you kind of got into that. What was the thing where you said this organic instrument that's made of strings and wood really should marry with electronics, with software, with, buttons, if you will?
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure it was a good idea, but I knew it was something that not a lot of other people were doing. And that's, I don't know, for me, that's often really interesting. It's just, I love innovation and doing things that haven't been done before. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to, make better music, but you can definitely explore fresh territory. And to me, that's just, that's super exciting. And because of my technological background, I felt like I had kind of an advantage. I've never been intimidated by computers or software or a lot of the more, technical side of music making and working with musical instruments. So, I don't know, it seemed kind of a natural path. But you're right, the guitar is is not traditionally a very technological. I don't know. There's another word there that might work, but yeah, it's not the most techy instrument. But today more and more, like every instrument is becoming more technologically enhanced.
Yeah, I think so, and I think this new day and age that organics and electronics are working side by side to make cool, unique sounds, and that's exactly what I would say about your music. Having listened to your music, and I know you're all the press stuff I've seen that you're working on the album 4 tracks. Is that completed? I know you were doing a fundraising campaign for that. How's that coming along for you?
It's coming along well. That's the focus of most of my attention now. The album's not done. It's close to completion. The Kickstarter campaign kind of kicked up a lot of dust, and the last year was super, super busy for me with like side projects, some of which were designing instruments like the guitar wing, which I think we'll talk about. But now I'm back on super focused on the album. It's close to done. I'm really excited about putting it out because I've been working on the songs for a long time. You said I did that that crowdfunding campaign a year ago, and that was very successful. So there's a whole bunch of people waiting for it, and no one more eagerly than me.
That sounds awesome. So, you did the crowdfunding project. What type of funds were you looking to raise with that, and did you hit that mark, or did you get like some of them? Well, Kickstarter, I guess you have to hit the mark with Kickstarter. But what was that mark that you were targeting, and what are you planning those funds for, and how is that going to expand the Moldover reach?
Yeah, the Kickstarter was really interesting. I'd never done a crowdfunding thing before. I mean, part of being an independent artist, you're kind of already crowdfunded. That's kind of the realm I've been in since before that term came around. Looking to fans and friends and just anybody who's interested in and supportive of my work to kick in, and some people want to do that by buying CDs and T-shirts more back in the day, and some people want to see a live show. Just trying to find ways to connect with the people that enjoy my work and creating ways for them to support it. But I based the campaign loosely on my last album release, which did really well because I designed this really novel album artwork for my first album. I took the form factor of a CD jewel case, and I designed a custom printed circuit board that fits in that case, and the CD mounts on that circuit board. But the circuit board also contains a working circuit for a synthesizer that I call the light theremin. So it's just a very, very simple device. You just press a button and wave your hands over it, and it makes kind of a theremin-like sound. But that was super successful. I got a lot more attention than the music on the album, which was a lot more challenging, you might say. But people love the artwork.
Yeah.
I sold. What's that?
I was going to say because which is interesting is your actual sound is kind of organic rock and roll. I mean, yeah, you use the technology, but it wouldn't be your Gary Newman Cars, or Depeche Mode type of sound, or EDM stuff that you have now. You really kind of rock it up, but you use the technology in a very tasteful way to do that. So that's kind of cool that you married that with a little, like you said, a light theremin. That's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, thanks. That's kind of you. Yeah, well, I try to stay true to the influences, the music that had the most effect on me. It's the music that crosses between the organic and the synthetic, and really kind of blends and merges them in interesting ways that I love the most.
And I didn't mean to cut you off with the. You're talking about the challenge of providing really cool technology with the music, and the kind of how those work together, and sometimes kind of worked against the drive for the core of the project, which was the music.
Yeah. So for me, the Kickstarter and the 4-track project is about an album. It's about making a record. But as you and I both know, it's a tough time to raise money and earn money making recordings. So based on the success of that light theremin artwork, that instrument that was the packaging for my last album, I went ahead and designed a new instrument, which I call the Voice Crusher, which is based on a microphone and a speaker and a little pitch shifting circuit. So basically I designed that little instrument is the form factor of a cassette with a USB stick on it. So it's kind of a more modern take on the circuit board CD. This time it's like a circuit board USB stick. So the same idea. It's like, I'm delivering the album, but it's packaged inside this musical instrument. And I based the campaign around the financials of making that first record, but in this case, kind of pre-selling it, using that artwork as some leverage to get more people excited about it who might not be interested in the music or the artistry, but love the novelty of new musical instruments.
Yep.
And it was very successful, and it's great because I had had a whole budget to revamp my studio, design some new instruments, and make it much more than just an album.
Oh, that's way cool. We got about 45 seconds left. Where can they find? Where can they pick up the first album, and where can they find the Kickstarter for the second album so they can get prepared to get one of those?
Yeah, if you go to Moldover.com, I think the first link at the top will be a link to the 4-track project page, and if you just click, I think it's called Buy, the link on my website, you can get the album, and you can also pre-order. You get the old album, and you can also pre-order the forthcoming 4-track album.
Gotcha. And that is moldover.com, folks. You want to go there. It's just totally cool. You can make your own music along with the music that Moldover made. We're going to take a break for our sponsors. This is Florentino Buenaventura on the Changing Stage radio show, powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in Internet talk radio. We have Moldover here. We're going to be carrying over to the second segment, thanks to Pitbull Audio and SIR Music Equipment Rentals, because both those companies rock like you wouldn't believe. We'll be back in a few short minutes.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Thank you for listening to WS Radio. Improve your business and your life with useful information from experts and thought leaders. WS Radio is radio with ROI.
You may have heard me brag about Progressive Medical Center and just how much they've helped me with my health. And Dr. Goli, one thing that you've helped so many people with is migraines.
Unfortunately, there are millions and millions of Americans who are suffering with migraines and headaches, and they're debilitating because it affects the quality of their life, and they cannot function properly. At Progressive, we get to the root cause because we understand that migraines could be caused by nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, believe it or not, delayed food sensitivities. And once we determine what the real reason is, we put a plan of action together with medication that we get them off slowly, and we put them on an all-natural approach, and the results are amazing.
Incredible. I mean, there's so many people that can say they don't live their lives with migraines anymore thanks to Progressive Medical Center.
And that's what's exciting and rewarding to us as physicians, because we help our patients take control of their health, and that's why they're living well.
Why don't you get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today? Don't live in pain. Don't have migraines anymore. Just go to their website, progressivemedicalcenter.com.
This is your life. Live it well.
In the military, things can change in an instant. At Navy Mutual Aid Association, we understand because it's our life too. That's why our dedication to serving the life insurance needs of our military veterans and their families is unrivaled. Navy Mutual offers superior life insurance protection without military service restrictions and limitations. A single focus on providing the peace of mind military families are looking for. That's what we do. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve. Call 800-628-6011 or go to NavyMutual.org.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect. Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
Yeah, this is the second segment of the Changing Stage radio show, powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in internet talk radio, and brought to you by Pitbull Audio, where they just want you to play it loud and play it often, about powering the musicians over there, as well as if you need rental gear, SIR is the company to go to. So you got that. And, I always forget this, Paul, but, we've got Twitter, we've got Facebook, we've got all those. So Twitter, Changing Stage, or Changing_Stage for Twitter. Facebook is facebook.com/The Changing Stage. We even got a Reverb Nation, so that's the same thing. ReverbNation.com/The Changing Stage. Folks, add us because we want to know what you're thinking. And we've got Moldover back. Moldover, you there, sir?
Yeah, still here.
Awesome. Great. We're going to have you on for an hour, so this is going to be a great show. We've got some good surprises coming on in the second and third segment. What I want to touch on now is, man, you're this great musician, and you went to school for music, and you also played video games, and you love controllers for video games. You married one of those two concepts together, man, the Robocaster. It's so awesome. I was watching the videos of you playing that thing, and it's just like the coolest thing. Tell us a little bit about that. How did you transition from, first, I guess, let's start off with, how did you get into actually designing equipment? Because you went to school for music, and then, how did you think of this particular piece and some of the other pieces that you came up with?
Well, Florentino was honestly an act of a desperate man.
Isn't that always the case, right?
Yeah, I typically don't learn something unless I'm really going to need it. I don't know. That's the survival skill, I guess. But I decided I needed to learn how to make controllers a long time ago because I got interested in a piece of software called Ableton Live long before it was as well known and ubiquitous as it is now. I got a copy of the first or the second version in about 2002.
Wow,
and,
I didn't realize you were around that long. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it was a much more simple piece of software at that time. It only did a few tricks, but some of the things it did were super amazing and blew my mind so much that I realized, this is going to be a super powerful tool for live music making. And it's the first thing that really got me interested in, the computer can do a whole lot for my live shows. And then it became, I need a way to control this thing. I need a physical interface. And that's what was really lacking around that time. I don't know if you recall, but as far as affordable MIDI controllers go, you had really limited options. You could buy a MIDI keyboard. Your MIDI keyboard might have a few knobs on it.
You couldn't map them very well. I remember that.
Yeah, but compared to all the crazy things you could do in software, just those physical interfaces, I felt were really limiting. And that's coming from a background of playing, an instrument like a guitar, which has incredible expressive potential. Something like a couple of knobs and switches just wasn't cutting it. So I started hacking up those controllers, physically modifying them to kind of make them more ergonomic, to make them more expressive. And then eventually that kind of performance, like playing with these controllers and software, began to take off for me. It became the most fun and interesting thing that I was working on. So I quit playing in bands and really just started my solo career doing that kind of stuff with Ableton and controllers. And that's what led to me wanting to build one, because as I started to play out more and more, these kind of hacked up Frankenstein kind of interfaces that I was making were starting to fall apart as I travel with them, and they just weren't as well made as professional music gear. So I wound up getting together with some friends and getting some help and learning how to make custom MIDI controllers.
Yeah. So Was the controller on the guitar the first one, or did you do like a standalone controller that you used on in a different type of fashion?
Yeah, I made a standalone controller called the Mojo, which was like this shaped like two hands, something in between like a keyboard and a drum machine and a video game controller, just kind of taking the best elements of the existing instruments and the existing parts that I could find. And I made that, and then I started, playing guitar as part of the show again, and started doing original music again. And that's when the idea for the Robocaster came about, because guitar is really the instrument I identify with most strongly. I've spent a lot more time playing it than doing any other musical activity, and I found that taking all the skill and dexterity that I developed playing this controller, and then like applying that to a controller and a guitar at the same time, enabled some really exciting new possibilities for the guitar. And that's always been a dream of mine, just to do something innovative with guitar and come up with a new sound.
Yeah, and I really, when I was watching the video and some of the work that you were doing, where you actually used the controller, you weren't doing the river dance when it came down to pedals, man. You were just touching a couple of buttons, creating loops, and then doing things, Eddie Van Halen virtuosity, but even amplifying that with, multiple delays and stuff like that. You were doing some crazy stuff with the guitar. How long, as you created that process, it would seem to master all of that fun stuff. That would have been a big challenge. How did you master the playing before or at least the controller piece before you designed the controller, or vice versa? Which one, the chicken or the egg, man? What came first?
Yeah. No, it's a great question. It's kind of a weird back and forth kind of conversation. Like if you've seen the Robocaster, you've seen this finished, polished, really fine piece of work that I collaborated with Visionary Instruments on. But the first version of that was just this little MIDI controller and my iPhone Velcroed to a conventional guitar, and that was to figure out, is this going to be fun? Is this going to, is this really going to, make for a interesting and fun performance experience? And the answer to that was actually like yes. It's really fun to use the motion sensors in the iPhone to control effects, and it's really fun to to take guitar effects you might have heard before, but to be able to articulate them with your fingers. You can do sounds you just could never do with your feet, basically. So
yeah.
So the simple, like, kind of proof of concept things at the beginning, and then it goes back to the drawing board, and it's like, oh, well, what else could I do on the software side? And then, I start making fancier prototypes and trying different things out. And it's a long, long process, but it's kind of like the chicken and the egg happen at the same time.
Yeah, now, in some of the stuff that I was watching of you, you actually have multiple different controllers in different parts of the stage spectrum. So you've got a couple of them in front of you. You've got the Robocaster that's strapped around your neck, and then you have, I think what it is a Mojo attached to the microphone, where you're doing vocal effects and other different things like that. Is that a setup that the average person can go out and set themselves up with to create this orchestra of instruments and effects all at their own personal fingertips without having a huge group, or is it something that is only for you?
Well, I'm trying to make it for everybody. That you mentioned that vocal controller, the buttons attached to my microphone. That's a good example of that's a prototype. That's me thinking about I'm doing songs with vocals now. I'm doing vocal effects. Sure, you're a vocalist and you can get some pedals, or you can get like a tabletop effects box, but in my mind, like, the microphone is the vocalist instrument, and so there should be something on the microphone to control effects.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but there's stuff like this out there that you can get, and one of my goals is to kind of like make better, more interesting, more musical interfaces for making live electronic music, and to make them accessible, to make them into things that other people can ultimately access. Because I'm not trying to keep all the fun for myself.
Yeah. Now, speaking of that, the Robocaster that's made by Visionary Instruments, what does something like that go for, and where could they pick that up?
I think he's selling them for about $3,000. Visionary Instruments is the maker of really fine custom electric guitars based in Oakland, and he makes guitars for big names, big rock stars. And the Robocaster was our collaboration to make something that he could replicate more easily and sell copies of. And that's the same interest I have, right? Is to, give more people these instruments. So he sold a few for, I think, about $3,000, but it depends on what kind of features. He'll change the finish and customize it in a few different ways.
Yeah. Now, is it just a controller, or it seemed like that the guitar interacted with some type of synth or something processing that went along with it, and of course you were triggering a computer versus a hardware piece deal. You got about a minute left. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that interacts with each other?
Yeah, well, it's important to understand that the Robocaster is a MIDI controller built into a guitar, so it's kind of still two separate instruments, and you need an external effects processor, like whatever digital effects box you have or computer, if that's going to have your guitar effects. And the controller on the guitar is just a way to manipulate them from the guitar instead of with your pedals.
Oh, very cool, very cool. And with about 30 seconds left, anybody who's wanting to get into designing their own gear, what would you tell them?
Oh, man, I would tell them...
Stay away,
careful.
don't.
Yeah, well, there's a great article that my friend Roger Lynn wrote, targeting people that are just getting into designing instruments, and I would look that one up. It's called How to Get Poor Prototyping. And it's just good advice and warnings, and good, first steps to take if you're seriously interested in making your own instruments.
Awesome, sir. So, hey, this is the second segment of the Changing Stage radio show, powered by WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in Internet talk radio. My name's Florentino. We're here with Moldover. We've got another guest going to join us here after the break. Stay tuned. Thanks again to Pitbull Audio and SIR for keeping us alive. We'll be right back.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
You've heard me bragging about Progressive Medical Center and how they've helped me feel so much healthier. But one thing, Dr. Agoli, that a lot of people come to you with is just unexplained pain. They just can't get any relief. Why can Progressive Medical Center's Pain Management Center help them?
First of all, we have to acknowledge that pain is for real, and you've got acute pain and chronic pain. Here's the problem. That acute pain turns to chronic, which is long-standing, and no one's getting to the root cause. There's several key diagnostic components that help us get to the root of what's causing this pain. Is it inflammation? Once we do a thorough evaluation to get to the root cause, determine if it's structural or if it's a metabolic issue. And this way, we put an individualized program for pain management involving correcting the spine, using certain injections when necessary, and we get our patients out of pain quicker, and they stay out of pain because we teach them how to live their life well.
Don't let yourself live in pain any longer. Get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today at progressivemedicalcenter.com.
Progressive Medical, this is your life, live it well.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com. information, news, and entertainment on demand.
Welcome to the Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
We are into the third segment of the Changing Stage radio show, powered by WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in internet talk radio, and brought to you by SIR Music Equipment Rental and Pitbull Audio, where Pitbull just wants you to play it loud and play it often, where you can get your great gear, whether you want to rent it from SIR or whether you are going to just make it your own from Pitbull Audio, pitbullaudio.com. You got to go get your gear from them because they take care of you there. And we're back with Moldover. How you doing, sir? You still there?
I'm still here, doing well, Florentino. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I guess we're going to be waiting. We actually have, at some point here in this interview, we'll be looking at having Livid Instruments. I know that we were kind of putting things together, on the fly here today as we're going through things because schedules, you guys are so busy right now trying to get everyone's schedules to meet up. So hopefully Peter will call in. I think I'm hearing the phone ring right now, so that's awesome. But you know what? You've designed gear for yourself. You've designed gear for Visionary Instruments, and you've designed gear for other companies as well. While we're waiting for Peter to get connected, how do you make these contacts, and how do these companies know about you?
Well, geez, it's mostly because I'm super geeky about all the gear. I've been going to the NAMM show for a long, long time.
Oh, okay.
And I've done, sound design for companies, a lot of other tasks besides designing the gear. So a lot of things came before that. So I've had relationships, and especially with the companies that make the gear that I use, I find it's always interesting and beneficial. You like, to know the guys that are able to have a contact there and to be on top of what they're doing. I don't know. I just love the tools and the instruments that I use. So I try to stay connected to the people that make them.
Awesome. Well, hey, I believe Peter Nyboer has joined us. Peter, you there?
I am here.
Hey, sir, you are from Livid Instruments, an amazing controller manufacturer, designer company, and you are here because you guys have a collaborative product that is really cool. It's like taking the $3,000 Robocaster and making that type of technology available for any guitar player with their own particular choice of guitar. Is that not correct, sir?
Yeah, that's right. That's the Livid Guitar Wing, and we worked with Matt Moldover on that. I guess we started a couple years ago, and we just went through, a lot of review, a lot of design process, and we at Livid have been thinking about this some sort of guitar controller thing, and we had known Matt for a long time, and then we saw his Robocaster thing, and we're like, okay, there's a place where we can make this make sense. We weren't going to do something that was the entire guitar, but we figured out a solution with a guitar wing that could give people, really cool controls that give them some sort of new control over their guitar sound.
Yeah, and I noticed I was watching the videos, reading up on it. You've attached it to different types of guitars too, which is very cool because I know Moldover can attest to this. When you have a guitar, it becomes part of who you are. I play bass. My producer plays guitar, and he has particular instruments that, that's all he's going to want to play. But if you can attach something like this guitar wing to that and be able to have access to all your MIDI controls through it, I think it's really cool. And what are some of the things that they would be able to control with this? Is there any limitations, or is it, whatever MIDI is capable of, you can do with the guitar wing?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like whatever MIDI can do. So, you can press a button and it can just make a tone. Or you can have it, fire off an entire orchestra. So that's both, a plus and a minus for a lot of people because this sort of unlimited capability can be somewhat paralyzing. But at the same time, we believe that people are overcoming that and, we'd rather speak to people's creativity. So, yeah, you can pretty much do anything. You can do anything from, control your recording session, or you can really do wild effect stuff like Moldover does with his Robocaster.
Yeah, definitely. You folks, and you particularly you would have worked directly because you do design work. Is that correct? You're in charge of that.
Well, my position with Livid, I'm one of the founding partners. My position is software director, which is sort of a catch-all term. So what I do is I make sure that our hardware can work with different pieces of software. So not only just making sure that it can make sense with it, but then we dive deeper into the programs and design a lot of, scripts and things that really extend the capabilities of all of our controllers. So, for instance, with the Guitar Wing, I can take a look at what Ableton Live can do and how it makes sense to use the pads and buttons and sliders on it, given what that software can do versus something like Reason, which is a little bit more straightforward. So you just sort of like, well, okay, I'll map this to the amp simulators and stuff, and that'll give somebody a good experience.
Yeah, and I think that's very cool. Now, this is not the only product that you make. Obviously, this is the one that you're making with Moldover, but you have a number of different products that you work with. And for some reason, I remember you guys doing a lot of software stuff when you first came out. Is that not correct? Or maybe I'm remembering that a different something or other.
Well, actually, when we first started, Livid, the name of the company, comes from sort of a portmanteau of live video.
Okay.
So we actually started as a company that was in the trying to get people into live video and performing video real time with music.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had our first product was a hardware software combination. It was like sort of a mixing desk for video playback. But as we sort of moved through that, and people would see our controller, they kept asking us, "Hey, does that work with live? Does that work with music?" And it's just like we just kept getting that question. And we're like, okay, we need to start moving more into this music thing.
Yeah.
So we kind of made that, and and then that has really been a big boon to our business. So we definitely focused less on software and on live video and doing more audio stuff, more audio-oriented things.
Yeah, because I remember you guys, I was working for Microsoft at the time under their mobile division for the iPads and all the Windows Mobile stuff, and I remember that you guys made something that connected to that to be able to record with for video, and I thought, wow, that'd be great if we can turn that into something for multi-tracking, being the musician that I am, and I was pitching that to my higher-ups over there. We need to work with these guys, and Microsoft, to their bane, didn't think that software for the devices were going to be a big thing. So I guess
we never heard from them, but thank you for the recognition.
I remember the company; it was awesome. So and then you guys now make these really cool controllers. You have a whole slew of products actually that you have. I'm going to Moldover, if you don't mind me, I'm going to dive into a few of these because some of them are very similar, but then they have some different. There's some differences behind them all. So you got the DS1, the bass, alias, controller R, OHM, RGB, and then you get your do-it-yourself. Now, some of them look similar. One of them looks like, I'm getting tongue-tied here, but they some of them look like mixing desks. Some of them look like they're controlling, different DAWs. Tell me about what the differences are between these.
Well, each one is sort of like, we sort of have like this evolution of ideas, and the OMRGB was sort of our big flagship, and that's sort of our original music controller.
Yeah.
And it first started out it was the Ohm 64, and then we added all the multicolored lights to it. So that has a big grid of buttons and a bunch of sliders and knobs. And then we sort of evolved that to be, we worked with Richie Houghton actually to develop the next thing, which was the Control R, which has it's a little bit more oriented towards step sequencing.
Yeah.
And making beats. Yeah, but it's weird. I mean, there's nothing else like the Control R. Like the OMRGB, there's other stuff out there that's like that. But with the Control R, it's got like this 16 by 2 row of buttons at the bottom, a bunch of mixing controls, both like pots and encoders, and then a little 4x4 buttons, sort of geared towards sequencing drums and bass lines. But you can, of course, do that and mix a ton of tracks, as a DJ would.
Are these velocity-sensitive buttons, if you don't mind me asking? I'm sorry.
No, not on the controller. And so that was the next evolution. Like, okay, we need to do something where, we do have velocity sensitivity, where you can get that body, that the person's body into it. And with this type of technology, the best thing is pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the bass comes in. This has 32 pressure-sensitive pads and touch faders. We really wanted that to be more portable than our other ones, so we didn't have any knobs or anything protruding. It's really a flat slab of cool stuff,
Throw it in the laptop case, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, and then the Alias 8 is just something that's a little bit smaller. It harkens back to the UC33 for people who are familiar with this history of these things. Just a really obvious thing, with a Control-R, you look at that thing and you're like, what the heck? The Alias 8 and the DS1 is sort of a bigger brother of the Alias 8. They both are like, oh, I see what that's for, and once you dive deeper, you're gonna find more creative things to do with it. But initially you look at it and you see an immediate solution to an immediate problem.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, guys, we're going to have to take a break. I mean, these things go pretty quick, right? This is Florentino on the Changing Stage radio show, powered by WS Radio Networks and brought to you by SIR Music Equipment Rental and Pitbull Audio. Make sure you check out lividinstruments.com. We're going to be on for one more segment, so stay tuned with Moldover and Peter. And we got some good stuff coming up in this fourth final segment, so stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
You've heard me bragging about Progressive Medical Center and how they've helped me feel so much healthier. But one thing, Dr. Agoli, that a lot of people come to you with is just unexplained pain. They just can't get any relief. Why can Progressive Medical Center's Pain Management Center help them?
First of all, we have to acknowledge that pain is for real, and you've got acute pain and chronic pain. Here's the problem. That acute pain turns to chronic, which is long-standing, and no one's getting to the root cause. There's several key diagnostic components that help us get to the root of what's causing this pain. Is it inflammation? Once we do a thorough evaluation to get the root cause, determine if it's structural or if it's a metabolic issue. And this way, we put an individualized program for pain management involving correcting the spine, using certain injections when necessary, and we get our patients out of pain quicker, and they stay out of pain because we teach them how to live their life well.
Don't let yourself live in pain any longer. Get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today at progressivemedicalcenter.com.
Progressive Medical, this is your life, live it well.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at whichwich.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICH, WICH. Whichwich.com.
information, news, and entertainment on demand.
Welcome to the Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
Yeah, this is the fourth segment of the Changing Stage radio show powered by WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in Internet Talk Radio. My name is Florentino, and I'm here with Peter and Moldover. Peter's from Livid, and Moldover is just an amazing artist that is also a technologist at the same time. And in this segment, we kind of wanted to talk a little bit, guys, about the technology, the industry. But before we jumped into that particularly, I wanted to ask Peter, where can people pick up some of this great gear? I know, obviously, on the Livid site. Is there any other places that they can?
Yeah, pretty much any dealer. On the Livid site, there's a dealer finder. So we ship globally. We're available globally at retailers. And yeah, so, I mean, kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
Online, it's, Amazon and Guitar Center, Sam Ash, and Moog Audio, and
perfect.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, most places really.
Now,
yeah.
what is the what's the street price for the guitar wing?
I believe. Oh gosh, you're asking a software guy. I
know.
think
Isn't
it's
that
180.
That's how us marketing guys torture you software guys.
Yeah, I'd say it's around 180. Sometimes I think there's some places that have it on sale for like 175, something around that.
That's really reasonable because of the controls that you're able to do with it. In fact, my producer, Paul Berezetsky, is a guitar player, a great guitar player. And, we were just talking about how something like that would be really cool. Paul, you had some questions about it?
You mentioned Guitar Center. Is it something you could go and try out before?
Yeah, actually, on the top 10 stores, like Memphis, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Orlando, New York. Gosh, I can't remember all of them. But yeah, it's basically the 10 biggest cities, I would say. And then Sam Ash Music stocks them. I think every store.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's available.
Do you have any artists in mind that you can think of that use these regularly? Maybe live. I don't know. Is this pretty well suited for live or more for recording in studio?
I think there are some live people using them. It's a pretty new product, so it hasn't really launched its way into the superstar category. Like the big rock stars aren't playing it yet.
Maybe Tino will be the first.
Yeah, so
I guess it could go on a bass, right?
I think it's on bass. I use it on a bass actually. And I think there might be some hesitancy about the Bluetooth connection because your bigger rock acts are going to be pretty conservative. But frankly, I think the Bluetooth connection's probably just as good as a wire these days. So
yeah, especially if it's done right.
It's that huge of a concern.
Yeah.
If it was Wi-Fi, I might understand more, but Bluetooth's pretty solid once you get a connection. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think people are just starting to get to know the instrument. It's a weird idea, but I think it's an idea that's time has come. So.
Well, I think it is too. I mean, we've had guitar synthesizers I was going back to the 80s, but something like this I think is really cool in that, you could actually take I go back to Moldover. I love the fact that your sound is organic with electronic blended together versus being straight one or the other. I think that's amazing, Moldover. Now, are you also? I know you've got your, the full version of it, but are you also incorporating the guitar wing in your performances?
Yeah, I'm working on it. At my next show on April 9th, I'm going to be using it. I'm still kind of sussing out what to do with it because it's, one of my things is not to give myself too many possibilities. When you're swimming in controls, it can be a little challenging, to navigate it intuitively like you want to on stage. But I'm definitely exploring how to augment the Robocaster with the wing.
I think that would be cool. Now, you guys are, you're definitely not, you're definitely not a upstart, but I would still consider you guys kind of like the independent, spirit of music equipment manufacturers, Peter, and obviously yourself, Moldover, where you have products that you also offer, like the collaboration devices. In this industry now where it's almost like it's the do-it-yourself ethic for music, do you find that the music equipment manufacturers also have the same type of environment, or is it still the big players are like your Fenders or your Rolands kind of taking up most of the market?
It really, yeah. Do you want to answer that, Matt, or is that?
I was to both of you. So either one can answer that.
Okay, yeah. All right. Well, it sort of depends on the type of music and the part of the industry you're talking about. That's kind of the challenge of the Guitar Wing, is because we're trying to bring those two wings of the industry together. If you look at a company like Ableton, you can see that, where they're coming from is still pretty. They're a big company, but they still have a lot of like grassroots, sort of sympathies.
Mm-hmm.
You go to their website and they're featuring artists that are, not big hits, and a lot of the hit makers are using their products, but they're trying to, say, look, there's a lot of left of center people that are using this, and they're using it in really interesting, inspiring ways. And so that's what they focus on. They're a dominant player in the electronic music segment, but I think they do have a lot of, sort of ear to the street, I should say, you could say.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. How about for you, Moldover? Because some of the products are just marketed on your site. How do you feel about the industry being open right now versus only being able to sell products from the majors?
I'm not sure I have as much perspective from the insider, because I collaborate with manufacturers, but it's often from the perspective of an artist doing like cross promotion, and I've had a lot more success with the more nimble, more modern, and what I feel are kind of more creative companies, because they just share similar kind of work ethic, and that's what I think was so successful regarding the collaboration between myself and Livid with the Guitar Wing, is that the company was just excited and eager to try something and create a new kind of product. That's referring back to Ableton again as a success story. They basically created an entirely new thing, a piece of live performance music software that's really easy to use, that hadn't been done before. And in this case, it's like a MIDI controller that can attach to any electric guitar. I don't think anything quite like that has existed, and it's a bold move to do something totally new. But the potential for success, I think, is that much greater. And I don't know. That's the kind of instrument and the kind of company that I get excited about.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things I picked up at this last NAMM is I really started to see the 2014 didn't seem to have as much innovative companies as this year. We've got about a minute left, gentlemen. Any messages that you'd like to say to our public about? Well, let's start with you, Peter. What would you like them to know about Livid before we sign off?
What would we like to know? So I would just say, just check us out. We're an interesting story. We started with three dudes all over the country, and now we've sort of joined forces in Austin. We have a shop where we assemble and manufacture a bunch of stuff for our products, and we really make a different type of thing. And I think it really inspires a lot of different creativity that you might not get from, a lot of the other players. So check it out.
Gotcha. And Moldover, you got about 15 seconds left. Sorry.
Well, let's plug my website again. There's tours and webcasts and my album coming out soon. So check out moldover.com if you want to find out more about me.
Yeah, definitely. And go pre-order that album, because all the first stuff is amazing stuff. This is the Changing Stage radio show. Gentlemen, I really appreciate you being on air with us. This has been a great time, and when you get more products and more gear, definitely would love to have you back. Thanks to WS Radio and SIR and Pitbull Audio. We'll be back next week, actually the week after, as next week is Easter. So appreciate everybody, and stay tuned the following week. We've got a great show.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Progressive Medical.
Hey, this is Heidi Rue, and you know, Progressive Medical Center has literally changed my life and my health, but I'm not the only one. Adele suffered from bone deterioration, bone overgrowth, profound muscle discomfort, physical exhaustion, and mental fog. In fact, the bone deterioration becomes so serious that she had to have back surgery. Well, after the surgery, she still didn't feel well, and so that's when she heard about Progressive Medical Center. Progressive Medical Center discovered that her adrenals weren't working properly, her hormones were out of whack, and the drugs she had been taking were doing more harm than good. Adele came into Progressive Medical Center in a walker, physically and mentally exhausted. But now she's a world traveler. She hikes and walks several miles a day, and it's all thanks to Progressive Medical Center. 770-676-6000. 770-676-6000.
Progressive Medical. This is your life. Live it well.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.